Hello, this is the TradeSite US Stocks and Futures Market Preview for the rest of the week, Thursday, the 3rd of February 2022, and Friday, the 4th of February. As usual, we don't typically do market previews for Fridays on Thursday night unless there's real action on the Thursday that requires a reset of opinion. I kind of doubt this week's going to be that different because I can tell you what I think we're looking at right now. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart in broad market terms. We've rallied back up off the lows in time to print the statements on Monday. One more day up on Tuesday, and then today we couldn't really follow through. So, it hasn't been that interesting. We had a positive day today on the markets, but it wasn't that huge. We'll talk about really what today was in a minute, but let's go through the daily charts to begin with. So the S&P closes up 42. Right, the Nasdaq 100 was up 120 points, which, by the way, the futures for tomorrow right now showing down 155, and we're just 30 minutes since the close, so erasing today's gains on the index. SOX up 86, still really puts it just nowhere. The biotech's down 52.04. As go banks and biotech, so goes the market. They say Russell 2000 down 21. This thing's been kind of beat up, never really recovered after COVID. Tried to break out late last year, but that last Omicron wave of COVID kind of hurt the Russell. Remember, it's those small cap stocks. That's the growth level of the economy. Never really picked up. Crude oil down 27 cents. So, tried to get to new highs and couldn't. Still sitting in this range it's been in for the last week. Not a lot going on there at all. Gold up $5.70. This thing, like I keep saying, just ignores everything. It doesn't care about inflation. It doesn't care about the dollar. It's just sitting. Now, here's the story of the day. We saw this in early January, the stealth sell-off, where we had days where the indices were up, but the broad numbers were down, right? More stocks down than up. Here we go again. So the Nasdaq up 120 points, helped out by Google, which was up 200 and announced a stock split. That's going to be a positive for Google. But today we had 1,438 more stocks down than up on the Nasdaq. That's really bad market breadth. Advanced decline ratio on the New York negative 411. So overall, more stocks down than up on the whole market, even though the indices were up. That's a stealth sell-off. That's what we call market internals, not matching what's going on. If there's a saving grace, it's that volume wasn't very good. About 4.6 billion shares again, 2 days in a row. It's not that it's not really a saving grace because the indices were green, right? But the stealth sell-off, if there's more stocks down than up, the volume wasn't great. When the indices roll again, remember that's when all the volume was on the downside. So Nasdaq, or the trend closes at 0.77, puts the 10-day moving average at 0.96. Now let me count back 10 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I do want to say the next 2 days are going to drop off some pretty big numbers. 10 days back was 1.22 and 9 days back was 1.62. If those come off the 10-day moving average and we get some more low readings, that's going to drop that 10-day real quick, just like it did back in January. And remember, the 10-day moving average of the trend, whenever it gets under 0.85, is a sell signal on the broad market. That's when we start to tank in January. We've recovered, but to get another signal so quick, and it could easily happen. All you need is a couple of 1, and you don't even need super low numbers when you're going to drop off 1.22 and 1.62, and everything else is 1 or lower, right? So we're going to get down there quick if we get those readings. So that'll be another sell signal on the market on the trend side. Hadn't had one for quite a while, and then to have one in January now again, significant. The VIX closes at 0.1, up 0.13. Doesn't really matter. Apple up $1.23. Amazon down 11.62. It's kind of a blip for Amazon. It was higher though, obviously. Facebook up 4, but now just getting crushed in the aftermarket, down 60 some points. That's not pretty after earnings. Google was up 205, like I said, and they announced a stock split, so it swept all-time highs. You know how these things go. When you split the stock, stocks usually tend to rally because people want to own the stock. You don't want to sell it and lose the split. So you get a lack of sellers. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds right now at this timing of the market. Goldman Sachs down a point. Netflix down 27.65. Peloton down $1.32. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up 48 cents. So bonds a little higher, rates a little lower. Tesla down 25.59. And Zoom down $7.57. In terms of other action, Bitcoin now sitting at 37,180, so that's been slowly leaking to the downside. The Dow is up 225 points. Okay, when we look at the intraday action, again, it's going to look super positive on the indices. So here's a look at the ES. Gapped up, pulled back. All we did was it took forever. We filled the gap right ahead of lunch, then started drifting back up. No urgency, no big moves at all. Just really slow meandering all day long. And then pushed a little higher, got a 13 sell signal. The risk line of that 13 sell signal, literally the high tick of the day. You can't make that up. NASDAQ side, here we go. Not much there either. Closed mid-range for the day after filling the gap. So not a very exciting day again, but it is what it is. But we're certainly setting up, remember, with that horrible advanced decline ratio. Now bad news after the market for Spotify and Facebook. A lot of stocks down already here. We'll see if there's any recovery on that before morning. And then obviously that trend reading could be an issue as well. In terms of economic data here in the U.S. for the rest of the week, we've got the unemployment claims. That's the weekly number. And non-farm productivity unit labor costs at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. On Thursday, we got final services PMI at 9:45, ISM services and factory orders at 10, natty gas at 10:30, and then on Friday, the big one, unemployment rate with the non-farm payroll numbers. So we'll be half size Thursday night going into Friday on Forex. So unless the market really starts to fall apart tomorrow, we're not going to have another preview, but certainly start to be on the lookout for that. Could be an ugly roll, and I think they're. We've always said I think the lows are not in, or probably not even remotely in. And now there's talk of a half-point rate hike in March, so be prepared. That's not going to help. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading Thursday and Friday, and have a great weekend.